Dr. Andrews, I'm very concerned about those among my family and friends who are fallen away Catholics. How should I answer comments like, the Catholic Church is lucky to have anyone interested in attending anymore? And also, is there a patron saint for fallen away Catholics, or any novenas or prayers dedicated to their hopeful return? And that's Mary.
Yeah, thanks. So, the comment is just plain snarky, so I don't know that it deserves answer, right? But look, let me back up and analyze a little bit more. We know a lot about the people who leave the Catholic faith. I mean, there's good sociological research on why people leave and where they go, right? And so I think we can kind of get behind that. Most people who leave the Catholic faith, at least in North America, leave about 70% because they say that they feel like their spiritual needs were not being met. That's the answer they give. Well, I take that seriously, and here's how I interpret it. There are riches and depths within the Catholic tradition that are not easily assimilated and are not always well taught. And if you wander into a Mass, the point of a Mass is not catechesis. It's not to instruct you in the fine particulars of the Catholic faith. You have to know what you're doing, walking in, to get out of it what you are supposed to get out of it. And unless you have that instruction, unless you have that formation, you may very well walk away feeling cold. I remember one of the most beautiful Masses I ever attended was a Mass at the Benedictine Monastery that's quite near Edipington Studios, about an hour away. And the abbot was the celebrant of the Mass and the homilist, and it was we had Benedictine chant and Gregorian chant, and it was very slow and pious and reverent liturgy, and a very learned homily that deeply engaged many elements of the tradition. And I looked around, and there was this beautiful architecture that reflected all of the history of the saints, and of course the sacrament itself being the high point pinnacle of the thing. And as I sat there, it was about an hour and a half long, and I was reveling in it and appreciating it and enjoying and edified by it. The thought occurred to me that that many of the friendly Baptists that lived in the environs around the monastery would have been utterly stupefied by the experience and would not have had in the slightest hint the same experience that I had, because I came to the Mass with the benefit of deep study of the Catholic faith. And so this is both the faith's tremendous attraction and maybe it's one of its greatest difficulties. Precisely those elements of depth and transcendence and wisdom that are so profoundly embedded in this 2,000-year-old history, because they come to us in this kind of a package, are not easily assimilated. Now, compare that to the churches where many people are going. Very common, I say, but the largest non-denominational, fastest-growing churches in North America today are participants in something that I will, for lack of a better term, call the worship movement. What characterizes that movement? Well, the use of choreography, electric guitars, drums, sounds, lights, and a kind of MC who manages the experience from a stage, whose job is to create an experience of trance-like reverie in the people who come to the congregation, similar to what you would experience at a rock concert, and then interprets those elevated emotional states to the audience, telling them that they are experiencing God in those moments of emotional high. And that's a kind of experience that's very familiar to people, unlike the Catholic faith, because it mirrors the experience of watching television or movies. We are habituated as a culture to entering into trance-like reveries through entertainment. And then when I encounter that in a quasi-sacred context, and I'm told that's God, and my affective life is already oriented that way, that's an attractive but shallow message. And so you have 2,000 years of wisdom and transcendence on the one hand, up against Netflix on the other. And it's no wonder to me that people leave the Catholic faith if they're not taught how to appreciate and assimilate those depths. All right, so that's the challenge that we're up against. Now, I've kind of lost the thread of the question. What do I say when they make snarky comments about leaving the church? Is the church lucky to have people? mean, I don't even know how to make sense of a question like that. The church is the bearer of transcendent wisdom, offering us the way to eternity.
833-288-EWTN is our toll-free number. A couple of open phone lines for you at 833-288-3986. It's EWTN's Call to Communion with Dr. David Anders. Be sure to join us tonight for Father Spitzer's Universe, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Father Spitzer discusses Part 5 of What's So Special About the Catholic Church. That's Father Spitzer's Universe tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on EWTN Radio and television. Our number, once again, is 833-288-EWTN. It's a free phone call anywhere in North America. 1-833-288-3986. First up today is Ben in Rochester, New York, a first-time listener listening to us on the Station of the Cross. Ben, thanks for holding. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
What can we do for you today?
My question... Oh, thank you. So my question today... me and my girlfriend have been talking a lot about faith and such. And one of us is Eastern Orthodox, and one of us is Roman Catholic. And we've been talking a lot about the supremacy of the Pope and papal infallibility and stuff like that. So through our research, we found a lot that for the first 1,000 years or so of the Church, there's very little evidence for papal primacy or even papal infallibility or